don't take your horse for granted. This is one of my biggest pet peeves, and it's something that I want to bring into who I am as an equestrian life coach. I want to keep people from taking their horses and the time they have with their horses for granted so that they can truly build the connection they want with their horse. Because when we don't have this lens of gratitude for what we're able to do, we often spend weeks, months, maybe even years without being aware of who we are in our partnership with our horse and what it means to us. So starting this episode, I want to talk about Beau's retirement. And I know I've discussed it before, but I want to talk about it from this lens of being in a place of no longer able to take anything with a horse for granted. So Beau was actually really unexpectedly retired. We didn't know what was wrong, but we knew something was wrong. And quite frankly, he was doing a really good job of hiding it. It was like mixed signals of like, is this behavioral? Is this health? Is it ulcers? Is it this? Like, we tried all the things, right? So he ended up going to some specialists, and we just found out he had really, really bad chronic arthritis and some nerve damage because of old injuries that we didn't know he had. So he was no longer safe to jump at the level we were. So he was my 3-6 prospect horse. We had currently been competing up to the 3-3 level. As a junior in high school, finding out your horse was chronically ill and basically in a ton of pain, not a great experience to say the least. But what it did was it shifted my perspective to one of fully prioritizing the horse. And not that I didn't prioritize his well-being before, but this just gave a different lens of recognizing how important it is to be aware of the tension in their body and the patterns in their behavior and what they might mean, and really seeking help when things start to feel wrong. And I know that there were so many times that I was like, something just doesn't feel right. There's something off. This isn't him being frisky. This is something else. And I had trainers who didn't believe me. I moved barns, and these trainers were amazing, and they're the ones that actually helped me get a diagnosis that allowed me to move forward. They supported me as I chose to move him home. They supported me as I got a new horse. And this is where the don't take any ride for granted really started to come into play. After I retired my horse, and for a while, we were thinking that he could be ridden on the flat, just no jumping. Nope, it didn't go well. He didn't like it, didn't want it. We were still having behavioral issues. Like, he was just in that much pain that nothing we could do, no altering of him staying some sort of a show horse, lesson horse possibility was it. So when I got my lease horse, because my parents were amazing enough to support my junior career, I really started to be aware of, oh my God, this horse is healthy enough that I'm able to ride him, thank you. And I don't quite know who I was thinking. It depends on what you believe in, but it was just this immense gratitude for every time I was able to get on a horse, and that they were healthy and they were sound and they were happy to do work that my gelding, who had to be retired, wanted to do. He still would. Like, if I got on him and asked him to go jump a fence, he would. He loved his job. But he's not sound enough to do it. It's not safe for him to do it anymore, even if that's what he wants. And so for him, it's quite psychological in this incongruency between how his body feels and what mentally he wants to do. Because I've watched him try to do things that I'm like, no, you can't do that, buddy. Like, I'm glad you think you can, but like, don't do that. But the gratitude for being able to ride, and now that I've been able to get back on my retired gelding, it took a lot of work, and I don't take lessons on him, nothing. I rarely ride him, actually. It's not something he loves, because it's just a reminder for us of like what we can't do. So often he gets frustrated by just walking in a circle for 20 minutes. So I try to do like trail rides, but even then it's 10, 20 minutes. And even then, every time I'm able to get on him and he has a good day, I'm just like, thank you for allowing him to feel this way. Thank you for allowing him to feel healthy, to be strong, to be athletic in this new way for him. And so it's one of my biggest pet peeves when people take their horse's soundness and capability for granted, because it really just shows that maybe they have and they're blocking it out, or they just haven't lived through the experience of having huge dreams with a horse and then finding out they're not sound or they're not physically healthy enough to do it. And for a little more context, when my horse was retired, he was only 11, maybe 12, because he's 15 now. So yeah, he was 11 years old when I retired him. That's not particularly normal. And that really shaped who I am as an equestrian. And I think the biggest thing that equestrians can do to enable them to not take their horse for granted is to practice and apply raga. Raga means attachment. And this sounds counterintuitive because really in yoga philosophy, the idea of raga asks equestrians or people to think about what they can let go of and detach from, because the attachment keeps them so rigid, so stuck on this one path. And I think really practicing raga in this context and in the context of being grateful for what your horse can do is recognizing that attachment to the perfect picture of a healthy horse can be taken away instantly. It can be taken away so fast that you never saw it coming. And so being able to detach from this ideal, from who you think this horse is, allows you to not take them for granted, because you can recognize what they could be going through, what they could be dealing with, what physical ailments they could be having. And so although this can be slightly morbid and negative, practicing this or applying raga attachment through the lens of detachment means that you don't take your horse for granted, because you're no longer attached to what they are doing for you now, what purpose they serve today, and instead you're looking at them as a whole being and being grateful for what they are capable of doing today and what type of partnership you're able to have in the present time, while acknowledging that the present moment might just be that, the presence, now and not in the future. The one last thing I want to leave you with is that gratitude is a superpower for connection. Being grateful for your horse in any way possible allows you to build connection, because it allows you to prioritize their well-being. It takes you out of the owner mentality and into the partner mentality. Just saying thank you to your horse more often. Maybe they understand it, maybe they don't, but you get it. And it changes how you interact with your horse. And that's where gratitude and not taking your horse for granted builds the connection you have with your equine partner. Thank you so much for watching. I know this episode is a little dark, it's pretty heavy, but truly taking horses for granted is a huge pet peeve of mine, and this episode goes to show what Callebaut Yoga is, what I am as an equestrian life coach, what beliefs I stand on, and who I want to serve. So if this episode felt really powerful to you and it clicked and you're like, wow, I love this, you're in the right place. Welcome to the Callebaut Yoga family. And if you want to make it even more official, subscribe to the podcast, then hop on over to callebautyoga.com and subscribe to the email list. That way you get VIP access to all of our up and coming programs, including one all about building connection that will occur fully online on January 24th. I hope to see you there. Applications are open. And with that, I will leave you. Have a great rest of your day, night, or whenever you may be listening.